Okay, 7th graders, I have to do this again. We are going to do section 3.2, adding and subtracting decimals. It kind of cut me out the first time, and that's why I am just going to show you guys how to do this. Lost my pen. Okay, so when we add decimals, the important thing to remember is that we have to line up the decimal places. So when I do a problem like this one, the order of addition doesn't really matter, and so I like to put the one that has the more digits on the top of my problem. You don't have to switch them around, but I do. You have to be careful too when we do that. Okay, so when I add these two together, as long as your decimals are lined up, you just add like normal. So 7 and 2 gives us 9. 5 and 6 gives us 11. Carry your 1. Bring down your decimal point. 8 and 3 is 11, plus 1 is 12. 1 and 1 is 2. So our answer is 22.19. Okay. Our next problem, we have 9 plus 3.245. You can switch these around as well. I'm just going to show you what it looks like if you don't. I like to add a decimal point and even a 0 after that 9 to help me get a visual of what I'm doing. If you want, you can fill that spot with extra zeros just to keep them all lined up. And then 0 plus 5 is 5, 0 plus 4 is 4, 0 plus 2 is 2, 9 plus 3 is 12, so your answer is 12.245. Okay, I'm going to take that away now. Okay, so now our next problem, we're adding two negative numbers. They are on the same team, so that means we can add them, and then we just have to make sure that we add that negative at the end. So 5.78 plus 18.3. Okay, I make sure my decimals are lined up. 8 and nothing. You can put in zeros if you would like. 8 and 0 is 8. 7 and 3 is 10. Carry your 1. 8 and 5 plus 1 would be 6, would be 14. 1 and 1 is 2. So our answer for that one is 24.08. Okay. The next problem is just a tiny bit different, and the reason it is because we have a negative and a positive, so they're on different teams. So I'm just going to put a little note here. Different teams, as I call them, need to subtract. Okay, so the 12.4 is larger as far as there's more on that team, so that's the one that has to go on the top. So I'm going to subtract these two. 4 minus 1 is 3. I can't take 6 away from 2, so I just borrow like a normal problem. 12 minus 6 is 6. Okay, so our answer is 6.3, and it's negative because the 12 was more and it was negative. Okay, so with adding, you can switch things around if you'd like to rearrange them, and then be careful when you have those negatives. When we subtract, you do have to keep them in the same order. It's very important that they stay in the same order. So the first problem is 12.49 minus 7.25. Okay, so 9 minus 5 is 4, 4 minus 2 is 2, the borrow, 12 minus 7 is 5. No negatives, so our answer is just 5.24. Okay, our next problem, we have a whole number, which is okay. Just remember that decimal point is right here. And then I have 7.32. Fill this spot with zeros. Obviously, you can't take 2 away from 0. Make sure you don't just put a 2 down here. We've got to borrow from this 4. Make that a 10, make that a 9. 10 minus 2 is 8. 9 minus 3 is 6. 3 minus 7, I can't do it. I've got to borrow again. 13 minus 7 is 6. So your answer is 6.68. Okay. Now G and H, I gave us some negatives here. This first one, remember anytime I am subtracting and I'm dealing with negatives, I always like to add the opposite. So I'm going to add the opposite. Maybe I'll write that above here. Add the opposite. Okay, so what happened here is it changed it to 5.34 plus 3.72. They're both positive. So 5.34, 3.72, you're going to add them. 4 and 2 is 6, 7 and 3 is 10, carry the 1. 5 and 3 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So your answer is positive 9.06. Now again, I'm going to add the opposite on this one. On letter H, I'm going to add the opposite of a positive 8.24 is a negative 8.24. So now I have a negative 3.21 and a negative 8.24. They are on the same team. So if they're on the same team, we add them. So 3.21 and 8.24, we're going to add them. 4 and 1 gives us 5, 2 and 2 gives us 4, 3 and 8 give us 11, but now it was a negative and a negative. They're all on the negative team, so it's a negative 11.45. Okay. So I'm just going to put a little note, add the negative, because both numbers were negatives. They're both on the negative team, so we have to add back that negative at the end. Okay, so big thing, make sure you line up your decimals, pay attention to positive negatives, add the opposite whenever we're dealing with those negatives. It's going to help you guys do those problems.